Hello YouTube and welcome to today's video in which I get to talk about a deck I've been having a lot of fun with in Master Duel, 60 card Grass is Greener piles. So in this video I want to talk about this list that I've come up with, why all these specific cards are in here, and then I'll talk about the bare minimum engine requirements of Grass decks and why to play a 60 card deck as a whole. I want to also talk about some other options that you can play in this deck and show a replay. If you guys like this kind of video, I'd really appreciate a subscription to the channel. Without further ado, let's jump into this video. Alright, 60 card Grass is Greener deck. So for this list, I've actually included 3 Max C, 2 copies of Unizombie. Unizombie's to summon off of Solitaire. I don't think you need 3. 3 copies of Ash Blossom, and then you play a lot of Dangers. 2 copies of Jackalope, 1 copy of Tsuchinoko. There's a Chupacabra and 2 Mothmen in here. I neglected to add the large Dangers, the level 8 ones, but these can be added into the deck. Simply, they don't really do a lot going first, and I wanted to make the deck as consistent as possible, because if you don't open Grass is Greener in this deck, it doesn't really feel that strong, and you're just trying to manually get all your pieces in the graveyard. So every card in your hand should do something, and the big dangers just have too much of a risk attached to them. We play 1 copy of Giant Rex. This card, when banished, does get to special summon. You can banish it off of Gold Sark or with Snow's effect, so it gives you a really great rank 4 engine and a lot of extra link material. 2 copies of Mizuki. These are to mill, and 1 Spirit Master. When this card is banished, it gets to destroy a card, making your Fairy Tale Snow even better during your opponent's turn. It also can be summoned back when you banish Shiranui Solitaire, which is one of the best starters in your deck, summoning Unizombie from your deck. But whenever it's banished, it special summons a different Shiranui, so you can bring back the Spirit Master. Again, rank 4 spam. You may notice my extra deck off the rip doesn't have a lot of rank 4s, but you could include them, and I'll talk about some of the better ones that I think could be in this deck. Again, we have those little dangers, and I included 1 Chaos Valkyria. This card just kind of rounds out weird hands, banishing lights or darks from graveyard to special summon, giving you an extra body on the field. It's a light fairy, which does come up sometimes for Curious, but for the most part, it's just a free extender. This card was a last-minute addition. I play a lot of Thunder Dragons because they're cool. We've got 3 Thunder Dragon, 3 Thunder Dragon Dark, 1 Hawk, and 2 Roar, with the 1 Duo included. You may notice there's no Thunder Dragon Fusion or Titan. That's simply not the purpose of the Thunder Dragons in this deck. While you could play Titan, I don't recommend you include it in this deck because you'd have to play the Dragon Ball, the Matrix, and try and go into a setup where you're setting up the dragon to destroy a bunch of times, and I just don't think that's a really good win condition. These are really awesome link material though. You can special summon them very easily, link them up into like a Masquerena, into an Appaloosa, and you end up with 1 Thunder on the field that can be tributed into Colossus. And Colossus Appaloosa is a pretty imposing board. I think it's enough to win most games. The next card is the Brick. It is the Mare. You play this card because a lot of your combos, what you're trying to do is create a Baron de Fleur with a Yazi, and then you pop the Yazi with the Baron to summon the Mare from your deck. This gives you access to a plethora of link materials. You can just reduce its level by 3 and summon a bunch of tokens, then using the level 3 Mare to go into, or the level 4 Mare to go into like a Chaos Ruler. There's so many different lines. Every hand is going to be different. It's honestly one of the best parts of playing this deck, is it's very creative, and every single hand you're doing something a little bit different. And so yeah, I really like the Mare line in this deck. It does take up a lot of extra deck spots. It does contribute to a main deck Brick. So if you wanted to exclude this, I wouldn't put it past you, and I think the deck functions perfectly fine without the Mare, but it's a nice option that I couldn't pass up. 3 copies of Destrudo. Yes, halving your life points is a big cost, but this is one of the best cards to mill. It's good to draw, it gets your combo started, and it gives you an extra tuner to make that last Synchro Monster or Halqifibrax. 3 copies of Nessie to get your other dangers, the 1 Dragon Duo, and the Chaos Creator as Chaos Boss monsters. You could, of course, play a Chaos Space Engine with Chaos Dragon Levianeer and the Baby Dragons. In a deck like this, it works very well milling Chaos Space, an exceptional mill, but Chaos Creator is a nice standalone card to return some of those banished cards you're going to be heftily banishing with the Fairy Tale Snow to your deck and 1 to the field. I do play 1 copy of Nibiru in a 60 card deck to draw off the Maxi. It seems silly, but once you play, you'll understand you do actually draw cards in a 60 card deck. 60 is not that much more than 40. It does feel like it sometimes, but there's a lot of times you're going to draw the one Nibiru. Foolish Burial is a card I haven't crafted yet, but do encourage it in this deck. It gives you the extra missing piece you need. At very worst, sends a Fairy Tale Snow, which is pretty game changing on its own. And at very best, you send like a Mizuki to get your engine rolling. So yeah, overall, Foolish Burial has a lot of targets. Reasoning is a free mill card. You have so many different levels in this deck, it's very difficult for your opponent to accurately guess the level you're going to mill. And even if you just send a few cards, few spells, and then maybe summon a free monster, if a spell says summon a monster directly from your deck, I mean, that's a good spell, right? We're going to play that. One copy of Gold Sark, pretty much just to banish the Giant Rex. You can also banish the Solitaire, which gets to special summon of the Spirit Master. Or you could banish the Spirit Master to pop a card. You can banish Dark to get your Thunder Dragons rolling. It has a lot of targets, definitely worth playing. Similarly, Allure of Darkness is mostly used to banish your Thunder Dragons, but it can fix bricked hands additionally. We're playing 60 cards. Nothing in this deck is too important that you can't lose it. 3 Pot of Desires is a nice inclusion in this deck. It's basically just Pot of Greed in a lot of scenarios. It'll very rarely come back to bite you, so we definitely include it. And of course, that grass looks greener. The namesake of the deck, the reason we play is 60 cards. If you resolve grass is greener, you are probably winning that game. It's such an incredibly strong card. You go plus 20, sometimes milling your entire deck to the graveyard, giving you an entire additional hand to play with. It's so good, and Master Duel is honestly the best format to play this card in, since 1, it's legal, you can't play this card in the TCG, it's banned, and 2, we have such a wide berth of powerful cards that you can send to the graveyard. It's a really great deck to play in Master Duel, and the only format you can play a deck like this in. 2 Called by the Grave, and the extra deck includes Colossus, one of the best cards ever, Yazi for the aforementioned Mare combo, Omegas for some hand loops, not required, Borreload Savage Dragon, you'll include this in some of your end boards to include a negate, usually making it with like Destrudo plus Snow, or maybe even like a Unizombie, depends on your hand. Chaos Ruler, you want to make this first, milling 5, really synergistic with your win condition. It's going to help you go into Curious, the Lightsworn Dominion, being a Dark Dragon, and overall just gives you a lot of advantage. Baronne de Fleur, it doesn't seem super linear how you make this, but you do have a lot of tuners and various levels. Though Destrudo can change its level pretty easily, and so can Unizombie. In collaboration with the Thunder Dragon cards, Baronne de Fleur definitely comes up, and Mare can also contribute to summoning this guy. So yeah, Baronne de Fleur is definitely nice in this deck, but not required. I do think it is required if you're playing the Yazi engine though. If you're playing Yazi and Mare, you need the Baronne. That's your main way of popping the Yazi going first. Going second, Yazi just does it all on its own, but going first, you need a facilitator. Next, I play Dugaris the Timeless. Dugaris is good because it lets you special summon from graveyard, draw cards, finish the extra piece of your combo that you were missing, and it can also help you push for game. Now, if you resolve Dugaris, there is going to be a downside. Usually it involves skipping a phase, but if you resolve your full combo, you're so likely to win because it's such a crazy combo, it's just worth it. So yeah, Dugaris is my premier rank 4. You could also play Abyss Dweller. Some people play Minerva, the Lightsworn Minerva, to extra mill. I think Dweller is the second best one. I like Dugaris a lot. Link Karibo for the Mare token. Halqifibrax is honestly just a backup option in this deck. You really don't need it. We do have the Phoenix and the Masquerena. Masquerena comes up a lot though. Since you're special summoning so much from graveyard, it's really great to consolidate into. Curious is a card you make almost every game. You're going to make Curious to send the snow if you don't mill it, and if you do mill it, there's a lot of other targets, such as Thunder Dragons to banish, such as the Zombie Engine. You just have everything that wants to be in graveyard. Unicorn for the Masquerena and going second. Finally, Appaloosa. This will be included in a lot of your end boards and access code to go second. So this is the list that I've come up with after theorizing the 60 card pile. Let's talk about the engine requirements and bare minimum if you want to craft a deck of your own. So 60 card piles can come in all shapes and sizes. This specifically is the 60 card Thunder Dragon Danger deck, and I consider these 48 cards to be the bare minimum requirements to get into this deck. The rest is just kind of fluff, and you can play whatever cards you want in those slots, but playing these cards ensures that you're going to summon Colossus Appaloosa with the Snow in graveyard, which is the primary win condition of the deck. There are a lot of tech cards that you can play in this deck, such as Chaos Space with the Baby Dragons, with Chaos Dragon Levianeer, a very good option that I've considered and will probably test myself. You could play cards like Left Arm Offering to get more access to the grass is greener. You could play a bunch of hand traps, a ton of dangers. Honestly, if you're playing a grass deck, I encourage you to try out a bunch of different stuff. It's a relatively unsolved deck considering how limited the formats are in which you can play these kinds of decks. And once you have grass is greener, the world is your oyster. You can just play any kind of grass deck. If you like Witchcrafters, there's a Witchcrafter deck that's played at 60 cards. You could play dinosaurs. There's a lot of different 60 card decks. If you guys are interested in more 60 card piles, let me know your thoughts in the comment section and I can create more videos about 60 card decks. But since we're just focusing on Thunder Dragon Danger 60 card pile in this video, I want to jump into a replay. Now, this is not a replay where I draw grass is greener. If you draw grass is greener, you have so many options. Your turns can go on forever and you just summon until your heart's content, right? So in this replay, I didn't draw grass. I want to show what the deck is like playing from behind. So I hope you guys enjoy. Let's jump into that replay. For this replay, I am playing a deck that's a little different than my main deck. Since I don't have all these cards yet, I think this is actually a great opportunity to show some budget options. Instead of the second Unizombie, I have this Shinobi Necro, which is a level 2 tuner, and when it's banished from the graveyard, to activate an effect, you can special summon it. So you can banish this off Snow and summon it. I thought that was a nice interaction. We threw a Jet Synchron in here, and otherwise, it's looking pretty standard. So let's jump into this replay, and we'll talk about what I did right, what I did wrong, and some of the lines that this deck has available. Alright, so in this duel, we start with a Destrudo, 2/3 dangers, and a Gold Sark. So we're going to Gold Sark for Giant Rex to special summon it. Right off the rip, I immediately recognize if I had just banished like a Thunder Dragon here, specifically Thunder Dragon Roar, it summons a Dark, and then I can use the Dark as material and then add a Thunder Dragon. So you could go into Colossus with Gold Sark. I'd instead activate some dangers here. We managed to stick a Nessie. We get a Mothman on the field. So I'm going to use the Destrudo, targeting the Mothman, making it level 3, and that goes into Barone. So you're always looking, which one of my lines can I go into with this deck? And I see a path to the Yazi Barone line, so that's the one we're going to go for. And yeah, so we're going to Barone pop the Yazi this time, summoning out the Mermare. Mermare will summon tokens thrice. So we summon the first token, go into Linkuriboh, and summon another one, and now it's level 4, and we go into the Chaos Ruler. So sometimes you go forwards through the combo, sometimes you just go backwards through it. Chaos Ruler mills kind of bad. We wanted to see Snow, but I do find Nibiru a really good hand trap for later. Going into a Nightmare Cerberus, I actually recognized here, if I played like Barricade Borg Blocker or Masquerena in this scenario, we could have gone into like a Curious play, send Snow. So there's like infinite creative potential with this deck. And as you play, you'll notice more plays that you can do and just tailor your deck accordingly, change your play style a little bit. My opponent's playing Crusadia. They summon out Regulus, they get Leonis on the field, summon out Equimax, pointing towards the Godarla, and also pointing towards the Link Slayer. They try to go to battle phase, so I'm going to Nibiru, and they activate Crusadia Power, which actually makes the Equimax unaffected by the Nibiru. But as long as we make sure the Nibiru and the thing don't point towards the Equimax, my opponent will pass. And so we draw Jet Synchron for turn. I go into a Halqifibrax, kind of like a tempo Halqifibrax, just giving me access to this Shinobi Necro. I will actually be able to summon back the Chaos Ruler from Graveyard, and we have a pretty considerable amount of materials. I'm going to go into a Link 3 with Unicorn, and then we will just go into Access Code, making sure to clear off my opponent's whole board and putting them in a top deck scenario. But in retrospect, without Snow, you see this deck does play a little clunky. When you do have Snow, though, we would have had, the Spirit Master to banish. We have the Giant Rex to banish. So much advantage. As soon as Snow hits the graveyard, you are absolutely in control. So that's the name of the game, right? fill up your graveyard, get all the resources you need, and take dominance of the game. So very interesting duel we have here. Both of us top decking. And so we're going to draw. We managed to draw a Shiranui Solitaire, but because of my Gimp deck that I'm playing, I actually only have one Unizombie. So we just have to send that one away for the Jet Synchron attacks. After attacking, tribute it for the Link Karibo and attack for another 300, maximizing on my small amount of damage that we could do. My opponent's turn, they're going to draw, and what do they find? Nothing. So we're going to get a free turn to draw. We will take that, and we do draw a Thunder Dragon. So Thunder Dragon, really nice draw since we can activate its effect in hand to add another one. I'm going to do that yet again to load up my grave with Thunders. More important than Thunders in the hand is Thunders in the grave when you have Colossus, because all we got to do is Tribute Summon, and Colossus hits the field. Thunder Dragon, such a crazy card when Colossus is in the game, will net us the victory. So it was a little bit of a misplay-ridden replay, but nonetheless, there were some very interesting lines that may not have been so obvious. I could do 10 replays on this deck, and all of them would be different. It's one of the benefits of playing Grass, is that every game is going to be a different puzzle to solve, and I will definitely feature this deck more on the channel. So if you do like this kind of content, really appreciate a subscription. Let me know in the comments what you thought, what kind of Grass piles you want to see. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.